Hello my lovelies, welcome back to the Crafty Lucy. It's Lucy here, and today I want to talk about bullet journals. Specifically why I use a traveller's notebook and why I'm moving into a hardcover bullet journal in my traveller's notebook. So here we have my amazing El Rahir leather TN, and here we have my new Otagami hardback bullet journal. So we're going to get to this in a minute. So I've been bullet journaling now for just over a year, although I've been keeping a journal / diary / planner for a lot longer than that. I discovered traveller's notebooks about a year ago, I think, and I started out with a standard size TN, which I still have. I also have a little one here, which I use as a wallet, and I can do a flip through of that as well if you're interested at some point. Initially, for my A5, I was using a D-ringed Filofax, which again, I can do another video on if you're interested. But this is from El Rahir Leather on Etsy, and it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm planning on moving into a hardback book, but I'm still going to be using my traveller's notebook. And before I do the transition, I thought I'd do a quick flip through of this. So my traveller's notebook has 2 pockets, and look at this, isn't that just the most beautiful thing? So I keep random bits of bullet journal paper, bits and pieces, prescription for one of my children, optometrist prescription, and then I have several inserts, and I'm going to take you through them. The first one that I have is my monthlies. Now this is not Ryder Carroll's standard monthly future log layout, but these are the equivalent of a bullet journal monthly spread, but I keep them all together in one insert because my life needs to be planned September, October, November, December, January, because I'm an antenatal teacher and postnatal practitioner. My courses need to be in the diary up to 9 months in advance. So I've actually got stuff in my diary for this time next year, and I'm very soon going to be getting dates in here for further on. So I actually like to have my future log miles in advance, and that doesn't really fit with the whole mini future log system. As I do this flip through, you'll see several of these orange post-it notes, and the reason that I've got these on here is that I quite often have client addresses in my bullet journal, and I didn't want to share those. And then very occasionally I will also be covering up musings, personal specific thoughts in my dailies that don't necessarily need to be shared on YouTube. I have tried to be as candid as possible though. So you'll see that some of these pages are actually other pages stuck on, and the reason for that is that I started doing this a bit differently and actually changed my mind, and I was in a different system and I ended up cutting out pages and putting them in. But I'm really happy with the way it's working now, and that's why I've drawn out all of these months so far in advance. So they tend to start out fairly simple, and then when I get to the month I might add a bit of washi, or do a bit of drawing, where's April, or stick in some bits and pieces that I've found. There isn't really a colour code as such. Individual antenatal courses do tend to get one colour, but I like things to be colourful, so I tend to use all sorts of different colours, meaning all sorts of different things month by month. Doesn't matter, does it? It's only me that needs to understand. So that's my monthly, and on the back of this I actually have one of these, just a cheap pen loop that I've bought off Amazon. I'm going to link in the description to all of my stuff. My favourite pen at the moment is this one. It's from Pilot, and it's the Friction one, and it's flipping amazing. And the reason it's so amazing is this. Watch. A scribble. leave it to dry just a little bit, and then you see this thing on the end. Isn't that just the most amazing thing you've ever seen? I love it. So I use that all the time. On the back, so this is one insert. On the back of this insert, this is just a nice piece of paper that I've washi on to make a little pocket, and I've got my car insurance stuff in there. Next up, we've got this zippered insert. Now this is actually completely homemade. So, hang on, I've got some bookmark situation going on here. Let me slide this out. So, as I mentioned before, I used to be, for years and years and years, I was in a Filofax, an A5 Filofax. And these are the zipper inserts from my Filofax. And all I've done is sewed two together. And it's just wool, and it just goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Tied it at the top, stuck some little owl charms on the end, tied them on, 2 bookmarks. Awesome, right? So in here, I've got, this is just stuck on the front. And then in this one, I've got some ephemera, so a few bits and pieces, some stickers, oh, and some actual stamps, postage stamps as well. So I just keep a few bits and bobs in there. And then at the back here, this is actually the card that I got with this traveller's notebook. It's just a lovely little note. Here it is, hope you love it. Yes, I do. And in here, I've got proof of postage slips from my yarn business that I just keep in here until I've had a confirmation that the customer's received it, and then I can take it out. Some of the stuff in here actually is the things that have come with my Paper Gang stationery subscription, and I will link you to the video that I made on this one, actually, the July Paper Gang unboxing that I did. So just slide that lot back in there. So that just lives wrapped around my next insert. So I'll just pop it back in. You can see that I actually like my elastics on my traveller's notebook to be fairly tight. Some people like them looser than that. I think that's just preference. So here we have weeklies and dailies. I keep a few bits of post-it notage stuck around the place, just handy. So these are thin inserts, right? And this is the main reason that I'm going to be moving into a hardbound book, because I was finding that I can fill one of these in about a month and a half, 2 months tops. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that I then had to have both, so that I had my monthly tracking stuff and my dailies in here at the same time. I just want the whole thing. I don't want to be forever swapping my inserts out. This one is obviously going to last potentially 2 or 3 years. And the one at the back, which is collections, I'm happy to change once a year. But this little guy, I was changing a lot and I got fed up with it. So that's why I'm going to be moving into a notebook. So this one is from June. And I started with some doodles and a couple of quotes. I had some stickers to use up. These are Paper Gang stickers as well. And my actual monthly header will be in the previous insert. So I do like a weekly. Now, some hardcore bullet journalists say that you shouldn't be doing weeklies, just do monthlies and then dailies. And that is the Ryder Carroll method, in fact. But because my life's busy and because I have to do a lot of different things and I have 3 or 4 different jobs, effectively, that I have to keep track of, I like to be able to visualise my week. So I do a fairly basic layout most weeks, Monday to Sunday, and a bit of space for this week and next week, or tasks to do. That month I actually did a rather lovely kind of poppies decoration, and I decided I didn't like it because it limited the amount of space I had. So that was quite an interesting one, because while I really enjoyed using that weekly, I was frustrated by where those flowers ended up. And then we get into dailies, and I tend to do quite a lot of long form journaling and the odd picture. Sometimes my dailies will simply be a list. So for example, I might decide that I didn't have enough space to write out my to-do list for that day. So either the night before or that morning, I will have written myself out a to-do list. I make notes as the day goes on, little to-do lists, and then a bit more long-form journaling. And the week just kind of carries on like that. Sometimes I'll do a bit of kind of quotes or art or playing with pens. And then we come to our next weekly. I went through a little phase of deciding I wanted to have a focus or a theme or a word of the week or a phrase of the week. Yeah, that didn't last long. So this week actually looked quite ordered, lots of things ticked off on the lists, and these are the dailies that would pertain to that week. And here we come to the end of June, similar sort of thing, and then I'm planning my spreads for July. So I don't mind how messy these dailies look. It really is just me dumping my thoughts, really. Quite a lot that week, and a bit of long form journaling at the end. Now we come to the end of the month, and I've done a reflection. I've been doing this now for about 6 months. So I think about what were the wins, work and home, what were the challenges, work and home, what have we learned this month? And on to the next month. So I tend to do the name of the month. I'm not a very artistic person. I just like to play with ideas, really. I don't care if it doesn't work. If I really hate it, I'll just stick something over it. I wasn't particularly happy with that one, but I couldn't be bothered to redo it, so it's fine. And then we have some goals. So what are my goals for the month? What actions do I need to do in order to reach that goal? And a little checklist box for those actions. And I can add to this as the month goes on. It's not set in stone. And now we have my favourite bit. This is my tracking. I've been doing this lots and lots of different ways, and actually the amount of stuff that I'm tracking is huge at the moment. It's not always this much, but I had several things I wanted to keep track of this time. So I have my mood from yay to oh no. I have my productivity, which is just lots, some, a bit and none. And productivity, I rate myself as being productive if I've spent time with the kids, if I've spent time on me, as well as if I've ticked lots of stuff off my work or home care to-do list. Because I think productivity needs to include self-care as much as getting stuff done. That feels really important to me. So at the moment I'm tracking things around self-care, things around the family, things around work, things around the home, and then a few extra bits and pieces that I just need to keep track of. And it isn't about making sure that this is full every month. It's about noticing patterns. So on the days when I feel like I've been less productive, what have I actually achieved? It might be more than I think. And also the correlation between mood and productivity, I think, is always interesting to spot. Sometimes I'm in a really good mood and I've done nothing, and maybe that's okay. I always have a little gratitude and memories section. I used to do this as one thing per day, and it just felt like a chore. So now I'm just, whenever anything makes me smile or I'm grateful, I'll write a little bit on here and just draw a little bubble thing around it. So there's no pressure. I'd like the pages to be full by the end of the month, but it doesn't have to be one per day. Much, much less pressure on myself. So at the beginning of July, I thought I would get into Dutch doors. Now, if you don't know how to do Dutch doors, there are 1,000,001 videos on this on YouTube, so go and have a look. This was my first attempt, so I had a little week summary here, and then a little half-page Ujima flip per day. And actually, I wrote a little note to myself. Stop doing Dutch doors. You don't like them. Stick with your normal weekly. It works. And the reason for that was that I felt that there was an awful lot of wasted paper here. So there was the half that was cut off, and also look at all this blank space. And if I was more artistic, yeah, of course I could fill that up with quotes and doodles and all the rest of it, but I'm not. So I was still doing my dailies on the next page because I felt that it was not enough space for the dailies and too much space in a weekly. So even though I really liked the idea and I really had fun with wrapping the washi tape and all the rest of it, I'm not doing them anymore. So more dailies. And you know what? Sometimes it really is just feeling grotty and pissed off, you know? It's okay to just dump that stuff. And then we're back into a normal weekly spread with more dailies. And then we're up to this week. And I don't know, I got a bit more creative this week. Don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. We also started getting milk delivered, so I thought I'd put those in. I quite like those. Sometimes I'm mucking about with pens or calligraphy. Really not very good at calligraphy, guys. You don't have to be good at calligraphy to do bullet journals. Evidence. Yeah, that really, actually, I don't mind when that happens, when you get loads of bleed through. I don't like it on my weeklies, but I don't mind it in my dailies. So because it had gone all the way through to where my next weekly was going to be, I did actually washi tape it. All right, I said that was this week. That wasn't this week. This is this week. You knew what I meant. So you can see that I do have a little bit of a running weekly to-do list. If it has to be done on a certain day, it goes in the day. If it has to be done at some point this week, it goes in the week. And I don't mind migrating. So let me just move this up. You'll see tax credits is sitting here. That is something that my husband and I have to get sorted by the end of this month, which for me means the end of this week, because I'm really busy. So here it is. And you will notice that it was there as well, and I migrated it. And that's okay, as long as it doesn't fall out of my head. And do you know what? It won't fall out of my head because it's there as well. So every single week I have migrated this goddamn thing. I think it's there on the monthly. Tax credits by 31st. So this is what I love about bullet journaling. When I set up my new month, I am going to be, okay, so next month we're on holiday loads and I've not got a lot on. But I will be looking at my monthly and I will make sure that all of the things that are in here end up getting transferred. And every week I come back to this and I make sure that nothing is being missed. And then I'm really happy to just migrate things until I'm so sick of them that I either do them or dump them. That makes me happy. So here we are, this is this week. It's Wednesday, so I've only got one daily. I didn't actually write anything last week, so I still would have filled in my tracking yesterday, but I didn't actually do a daily. And you can see that I've got a bit left here, but this would probably only do the first couple of weeks of August, and that's really annoying. So that's why I'm going to move into a much bigger book. So carrying on, I just use that to mark where I'm up to in here. And then these two, I'm using them both together at the moment, but these two just come down and sit in the weekly that we're currently on. So here's the back of that homemade insert. And the next thing I've got here is actually another homemade one. So because I'm using a small traveller's notebook for my wallet, I don't have space in my wallet for all of the extra cards. So I keep this in here, and it is just a little bit of lamination wizardry, just to keep the cards that I don't use that often. I've usually got my traveller's notebook with me all the time. So if I need these cards, I know where they are, but I don't have to carry them around in my little wallet. So if I do decide to just take my wallet with my phone, I can do that and not have to worry about where these are. So we're coming to the last insert. So here I've got another one of these little stick-on pen loops, and I just keep a pencil in here. So I've always got, this has gone wonky, hasn't it? Let me get that in better. So I've always got a pen and a pencil with me at all times. And this is my collections. And already since the beginning of the year, this has really evolved. So I was keeping track of the jobs that needed to be done in the house, and I was keeping track of chores. And I actually, in an epiphany and a moment of revelation, decided that this stuff just made me feel like a failure and made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. So I've stopped filling it in, and that's what I love about the bullet journal. You don't have to use spreads that you've set up. Books to read, films to watch. The films, I tend to give them a little rating. That's been quite fun. Again, I started out really neat and then it went messy, and I don't mind. This one's quite sweet. I haven't got very much in here, but this is just stuff that the kids have said that they want, or things that I want. And I just keep it in there, just, you know, when birthdays and Christmas roll round, I've got an idea of stuff that they might want. Word of the year, which obviously should have gone at the beginning. And you can see again, a lot of this stuff is cut out. And the reason for that is this is actually a blank insert and I like dots. So that's why I've been doing that. A bit of a weight loss journey. If anyone's interested in this, I can certainly do another spread on it, another video on it, if you want to see it. Birthdays and special days. A little bit of a thing around life goals and how we set them and SMART goals. My goals for 2019 were around relationships and around this weight loss thing and living a little healthier. A couple of other things I'm tracking, and then sort of notes. So the way I'm losing weight is intermittent fasting, and I just wanted a place where I'd got all my thoughts down about why it might be a good idea. So when I'm hungry on a fast day, I can just turn to this and read it and go, yeah, do you know what? It's okay. Here I've got my little cheat sheet. Now I have found, so this is about how to split up my bullet journal pages to make my spreads. And I did this because I was seeing on YouTube that lots and lots of bullet journalers were doing it. I actually have found that I don't like it and I don't refer to it, but I've got another really good idea. Miss McKenna's Life Leverage, the lovely Miss McKenna, has recently posted a video about how to make a bullet journal ruler from your own bullet journal paper. I think it's a really good idea. I'm going to give it a go. So I will I might do an updated video on that. But thank you to Miss McKenna for the idea because it's awesome. And then I've just got a list of journal quotes that I'd quite like to include in my new bullet journal. Some of them I've actually ended up putting in here because I couldn't wait, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And then here I'm just tracking, I'll just open it briefly, some information for my yarn business. But it's got some prices and some client details, so I'm just keeping that covered up. Here is my level 10 life spread. I did this in June last month, and I like it because it's pretty and it's a rainbow and it was Pride Month and I kind of thought it was a nice thing to do. What it's done is it's helped me to see where there are areas for improvement, but I'm not about putting loads of guilt on myself and making myself feel bad for the way I live my life. So actually, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this again because I'm actually really happy and content with my lot. And I think if you spend a lot of time reflecting on areas of improvement, you don't necessarily recognise all the good stuff that you are doing. So yeah, we'll see. This, however, is much more useful. This is my spices spread. And this is about self-care and the 6 areas that people who are resilient focus on in order to gain that kind of resilience and self-care. I, as a NCT postnatal practitioner, use this with my groups, with my postnatal groups. And I think it's really valuable. So if you want to know more about that one, then just let me know in the comments and I'll do a spread on, do a video on it. YouTube video ideas, yeah, there are lots, aren't there? So look out for those. So that's what I've got at the moment. I love it. It's chunky. It makes me happy. But I am moving into this. I need to work out how I'm going to fix this notebook into this traveller's notebook. And once I've sussed it, I'm going to be making another video. So watch this space. So I hope some of you who might be new to bullet journaling and or traveller's notebooks found this useful. I will be putting a load of links in the description for the stuff that I've been talking about. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel. And also just drop me a message, drop me a comment, let me know what you'd like to see. Speak to you soon. Bye.